Hi, welcome back to Paul UK Reefer. So here we are with a big update on the tank. I've been doing a few videos here and there, but this one's really about all of the corals, the SPS that I've been putting in the tank. There's definitely been some really big ups and some couple of quite far downs with some of the corals. But yeah, I'll go through each and every one of them in a minute. I'm going to take off the tripod for that and go through each coral and where we are with it, because I know a few guys have been asking about that. Before I do that, a few other bits of business to attend to. First off, big shout out to Reef Community Worldwide, Paul. He's sorted me out some Orphec lenses. So today we're trialing the Orphec lenses rather than the DD. Already I've seen such a massive difference in these lenses. You get 4 or 5 different lenses, and this is a really, the one I'm using just for info now is just a mixture of the 20,000 yellow lens and then the CPL 37mm lens. So it really seems to be working well. So hopefully it will let us see them corals quite well. Bumped into him and Moggs' Aquarium, shout out Moggs' Aquarium, over out of the Blue Marines in Failsworth in Manchester on the weekend. So that was a nice surprise to bump into them and have a natter. Socially distanced, of course. Anyway, moving on. There's a couple of the changes we've put in there. I've seen a massive difference since adding the CO2 scrubber. The ALK consumption went from about 30 to 40 mils up to about 50 mils pretty much within a week. And I've seen some really good growth rings on the SPS. So it seems like it's working really well, but the problem is I don't have a reliable pH probe in the tank, so I can't really see how much it's affecting the pH and when it dies off. So that moves me on to my next one. So in my next update, in the previous video, I explained that I'd taken on the KH Keeper, which was a decent product, starting to use it and see how it went. Now, after that video, within a couple of days, the results started swinging 0.4 or 5 DKH either way. And it really became inconsistent quite quickly. So I did a load of troubleshooting and couldn't really work it out. I also had a firmware update that crashed it and needed a reset. So I wasn't too happy, so I sent it back, and shout out to Charterhouse Aquatics, who I bought it from. They offered to take it back and give it some testing and trialing. So yeah, I wasn't overly enamored, but I mean, the only thing I can think is that I had a faulty unit. But yeah, the signs weren't good on it. So I sent that down there for investigation, and when it was received, they've actually received damaged, which was a bit of a shame for the unit. But what it resulted in is they offered to just give me store credit back, because obviously the distributor or the transport company take responsibility for the damage. So rather than getting another KH Keeper, I decided to utilise a different approach, and that was to install a controller, which I'm still waiting for, and a further alkalinity mag and calcium tester. And the one I've decided on is an Apex EL, or Apex L, depending on whether you're here or in America, along with a Neptune Trident. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to install that on future videos. That will give me really good control of temperature, which is the main concern, and pH, along with the ability to continually test for alk, mag and calcium. So I'll do some build videos on that, see how easy that is put together, and go from there. So I'm excited about having that controller. So that's that. So at the minute there's no KH Keeper or anything on it. We're waiting for that to turn up. Whilst I take you around, you'll see that I've also installed a new frag rack on the back panel. This is purely for the fact that when I'm taking new acros in and high-end corals in, I want to be able to sort of slowly raise them into the tank before placing them. And you'll see in a minute where that went really well and where it's gone really badly. So new frag rack, I'll show you that as we go around. That's from the Polyp Pros. Really nice vertical frag rack, something a bit different out there, but it looks really cool. So right, I'll take you off the stand now, and we'll start from left to right and have a look at these corals. Okay, so left to right, you'll just see the frag rack at the back there. It's a luminous yellow orange, which obviously sticks out like a sore thumb, but I've put it at the back of the tank so you can't see it from the front. Really like the sort of diagonal positioning of this frag rack, because I think it will work well with how I'm going to place it on that back panel and for getting the best of the lights. I think long term the frags might grow a bit wonky, so I don't think I'd keep it there forever, but good one for keeping the frags going. You'll see a little bit of algae on the sand bed. That's just due to lack of flow there. Other than that, we've absolutely got 0 algae in the tank, and the diatoms are completely burnt out. As you can see, the sand bed is clean and looking really good. The conches are doing their job there. So starting in this back corner, we've got a couple of war corals here, which you can see, they look really good. I believe one of them's from Prestige Reef and one of them's from mail order corals. They do have sweeper tentacles that come out. They're not very big at the minute, but these will sort of cover all of these rocks eventually. but I just think they're really nice colours. They look really good. I've got another one at the front as well. I'll just zoom straight up to that as well. This one's been in slightly longer. This was a Prestige Reef one. And as you can tell here, if I get it close enough, the plasticine or milliput has been completely covered by new growth on that. So already it's looking really good. This is a really good angle to see the coralline growth as well on the rocks. If you can just see, get my big finger out of the way, these big dots here at the top of my finger there, this is coralline, and that's sort of based all around the tank. You can see that on every rock if you look deep. There's coralline everywhere, and it's really taken off. So you can see on the power heads, which do need a bit of a clean, there's coralline there as well. It's a really good sign that we're going to grow stony corals in this tank. So that moves me on to the Montipora section. Really, really good coloration has come through on this over time now. So I feel like I've got my nutrients right, and I'm dosing a very small amount of Acro power every day with aminos in, and the colours of these plates look really good. And if you remember correctly, when these first went in, that was just a small knob there, and that's grown on. This one was this tiny plate here with a big hole in the middle. That's completely covered over, and now touching these rocks, that's all on in a matter of weeks. You see this other one here, if I come round, it's just started plating out as well, and it's attached to all the rock here and here and here. So really, really good Monty growth. So I'm looking forward to that. I've always wanted a nice plating colony, and I'm hoping that they'll kind of grow over each other and make a really nice design. There's a tiny little bit of Montipora stellata frag that I've put there. It hasn't done much, but it's coloured up lovely, and it's obviously growing, so that's interesting to watch how that goes. You'll see at the back here the Stylo Frags. This was a tester frag here, which has doubled in size. And this is the bigger colony that I put in that's all fluffed up, lovely. I'll come back around, sorry if I'm moving it too quick. That's fluffed up, you see the white growth tips. The Stylo Frags in here, which is one of my favourite corals, is growing like a weed, it's great. Next to it is a new addition. This is a rainbow stylo. Now, it did get a little bit of damaged in transit. So this, hold on, where's my finger? Here is a little bit of damage, and there. So it's not new growth, but it's only been in the tank a week, and it's already fluffing up, and the colours are really nice, under blues. So that's really good. The purple Montipora, if the RAS gets out of the way, you should just be able to see it there. The purple Montipora, say that when you're drunk. Took ages to start get going, but it's now all of a sudden in the last couple of weeks just greened up and fluffed up and starting to show growth. So really interesting how some of these corals take a little bit of time to just settle, and it can be a matter of weeks. So patience really is important with these things. Next little piece we've got here, this is a Prestige Reef piece, and this is called Chernobyl Montipora, I believe. And when I got this, this side had been fragged. So this side of the coral was completely white. That's completely grown over now. And on this side, we're starting to grow onto the rocks. So it's definitely growing. Again, took a good few weeks, did absolutely zero for quite a bit. Got another digitata here. This is coloured up. This was practically white when I put it in, and half the size. It's actually attached itself, if you can see here, onto that rock as well. So it's created a really weird arch structure. And these grow really quick once they settle in. So I may have to maybe frag that and move that back or something if it gets too big. Next one, here was the frag that I created of the Montipora stellata. And there was the second one there. Both of them, you can see the growth tips on them. They're white and all coloured up. Looking really, really good. Sorry, there's so much moving stuff in the tank, it's really hard to get a good angle on it. There we go. So they're good. There's another green stylo that's been growing well in the middle of that tank. Really impressed with them. And then onto there. Well, this one here is, I believe, for male order corals. That is a Barley Slimer. Try and zoom in on that one. That's just started a new tip on it. So you can just see the other white tip. There's two tips there. That is really growing out well. So looking forward to that becoming a big green Barley Slimer all over the place here. And then here is my other Barley Indo Acro. So this was the biggest colony that I've got. This was from Kraken corals, and I got that and brought that home same day. Now you can see the polyp extension on that is great. It's fluffed up beautifully. It seems really, really happy. I've moved my power head slightly to the front of the tank so that the main wash kind of goes in front of all these corals rather than right on top of them. But yeah, great growth on the tips as well. I've seen some white tips coming through. One problem though, we had a little bit of STN at the bottom. It's really hard to see, but just at the bottom of that, some of that base is STN'd out. And I don't know whether that's going to take over the whole colony or whether that was just through transit. But I'm keeping a really close eye on it, because if it starts to go up the core of the coral, I'll have to frag it quick to see if I can save it. But it's about holding your nerve really with these things. I think sometimes that could just grow back over, and sometimes you need to get it out quick. But I've got the frag rack now, so if that starts to extend to any more of the coral, I'll probably take some bigger colonies off that and then plant them over the top of this rock around here. So fingers crossed on that one. Hopefully it comes through. Okay, now onto another couple that are doing well. We'll come on to the ones that haven't done well at the end. Here is the green Histrix, the limeberry. That was from Prestige Reef. That one has coloured up beautifully and started growing over itself. The limeberry grows a bit like a tree, if you can see there. It's really, really lovely, and the polyps are all out as well. So that's coming across really nicely if the hippo tang's coming in for a little cameo there. So yeah, happy with that. Another rainbow stylo. So this one was part of a shipment that came from Signature Frags, who were doing a sort of a relaunch of their website. That's another nice piece. Fluffed up lovely, and that'll start growing over as well. Sorry, I've got a stylo thing, I must say. Then we've got some other Montipora colonies here. Now in my last tank, they did absolutely nothing, and they were pale as anything, these corals. And as you can see from this used to just sit on top of this rock. Already, within a space of weeks, you can see the growth that's gone right over the milliput, and it's about to hit the rock. And later at night in the dark blues, it really colours up lovely. So there's that one, and this one. Again, really deep colours. The lens haul isn't doing it justice, but that one's growing over the plug as well. It's really funny how different tanks and different lighting systems can have such an effect on them. Trumpet coral, or candy canes, whatever you want to call them, really doing well. They started really well, and then they just tended to slow down on the growth front. So they've not really done a hell of a lot for a bit, but again, quite happy with them. They're a nice colony. I got them as two heads many moons ago, probably about a year ago now, in the Max Nano. Fun gear plate, needs a bit of a dust off, it's got a bit of sand on it, but that's sitting in nice, seems to love the light. Feed it a bit of mysis every now and again. That's going well. Forest Fire Digi. Now, this is coloured up lovely. The problem we had is that we had a really nice fan-shaped hand piece hanging off the side of this colony, and one of the fish managed to knock it off, not once but twice. So firstly, it knocked the whole thing off and I put it back, and then secondly, it knocked half of it off, so I put it back as well. So it's had a bit of a bashing around, but it's still flowing nice, and hopefully once it's settled in again, it'll start growing. Got another piece of red digi at the back there. That one's only just started showing signs of growth on the top. You see the white. That one didn't do a lot for ages, but again, it's just started coming in. And I wonder, no, spit it out. I wonder whether that's just the pH movement. I just don't know. It's a fascinating sort of challenge to work out whether that's really making a big difference. And then we go on to the red Histrix. That one, the stalk of that's thickened out probably to 3 times what it was when I got it, and you can now see all the little white growth tips. So it's growing. It's not growing outwards very quick, but it looks like it's creating a really solid core to then create the big bushy structures that they make. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that one comes out. Then on to the beast that is. I mean, this is slightly shrunk in because I fed the tank a little bit ago, but this is the Duncan that I bought as a single head a year ago. Once that's sort of in the evening, you can see there's probably about 25 heads on it now, and it's getting really big. It's even getting to the point where once it fluffs out, it's really close to these other corals. So whether I have a move around or whether I frag that and put a few frags to one side, maybe give them to other reefers that I know. I'm not too sure yet, but it's getting big quick, and I really love the size that it is now. So if I could kind of freeze it now, I would, but that's a nice problem to have. So just coming around further, some more Stylo Frags. These are ones that I put in, that I created myself, that have all grown nicely. Again, wanted to bush out on the back end here. We're right down the other end of the tank now. And then onto the frog spawn. This has done really well. It started as a couple of heads in my Max Nano. I've got I think 5 heads in there, and loads of them are splitting again. So I'm hoping that over long term will just cover this side. And I put that down here so that at the far end where you sit at the dining table, the view here is kind of this. So you've got some nice LPS at the bottom, and then up into the SPS and sticks. So I'm hoping to try and get a kind of picture frame from each view, if you like. Right, now on to the last few Acros that I've put in, the really hard to keep ones. So the success stories have definitely been this one here. So this one is an absolute showpiece, beauty of a coral. Let's try and get a really good angle on that, but that one lights up like anything. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is called an electric Miyagi, and that is from Signature Frags. I don't think they've got any left now, but that one settled in really quickly, and it's beautiful. Really love that one. Next to it, we have a blushing lime Acro. That one has settled in nicely as well. That's in the middle of the shot now, behind the rabbit fish. That one came from mail order corals, and so did this one. Now this one at the back, on this side, sorry. Let's have a look where we are. This side here. So this side here, this one, the camera's not really doing that justice. That's got some really nice deep reds in it. It's really, really lovely. And that's called a Poseidon Flare from mail order corals. And under the right lighting, that looks really good. So I'm really, really happy with that. On the flip side, the biggest casualty here. So this lovely looking frag that's completely bleached out and now looking like it's about to algae over and be completely dead is a strawberry shortcake. So basically I got that in. The tank is still only 4.5 months old, and I just think it was all a bit too much for it. It's a very, very hard to keep coral. Maybe I didn't acclimate it the way I probably could have. So yeah, we lost that one very, very quickly, which is such a shame. It's a lovely piece, but I'm not blaming anyone else. I think that's just me and the age of this tank. But we'll try again in a few months' time and hope we get it right, because I really love the strawberry shortcakes. They're beautiful. This one here, this tiny little knob here that's now green, this is a green Acro that came with a Prestige Reef order probably about 6 weeks ago. Well, no, it wasn't 6 weeks ago. It was about, yeah, no, actually, probably about 6 weeks ago. That completely bleached out on me, but not to the point of that where it's dead. It just completely lost its colour, and I put it in anyway thinking it was completely dead. But over time, it's very, very slowly, over 6-7 weeks, it's very slowly started to colour up. It's still a little bit brown, but I've got hope that that might actually come through. And similarly, one other piece, which is here. This piece here is a lime tennis, believe it or not. Now that one lost colour as well when I first put it in. And I don't know whether it's just the intensity of the lights, whether I moved it up too quickly in the tank, because that should be a really bright sort of fluorescent lime green. But you can see there's still flesh on the skeleton, and it's a bit brown and a bit sort of white, but that's definitely not dead. That's not strawberry shortcake dead. So I've still got hope that that will recover. So yeah, long story short, we are growing all sorts of different levels of SPS in the tank, and it's starting to look really colourful, and the majority of it survived, which is great. So yeah, overall, I know it's been a bit of a long rambling update on all the corals. It's all been pretty good. Gutted that I've lost a couple of them, but that is to be expected. And I think having the Apex L come in soon will really help me dial in the levels of everything and really track that pH and track the alkalinity to the point where I can really, really get this tank uber stable so that the strawberry shortcakes can come in and grow out. But yeah, nitrates are at about 8, PO4's at about 0.05, and then the rest of them, ALK's around 8.5, calcium 420, 425, and magnesium 1350. They're the levels that I keep it at. The pH, I mean, on the basic Saliferts it comes up as 8.3, but I'm pretty sure it's less than that. But yeah, burning through the CO2 media, but it seems to be making a real difference. And even when you look back from here, you can see the growth rings around the Montipora. You couldn't really see them before. So really hopeful we're about to enter a more stable phase. I've been really, really lucky with algae. I think my approach to dumping lots of bacterial diversity, some tangs, and then every week I dose a couple of capfuls of Microbacter 7 to keep them colonies high. I think that's made a big difference, and I've not really had a dirty stage except for a bit of dinos, and you can see there's a little bit of tiny weird red algae on the surface there, but other than that, it's been excellent. The most stable tank I've ever put together, so I'm dead happy, and yeah, I'm hoping for some growth. So here is my record of all the corals, and in 6 months time I want to get on here and see them all huge and doubled in size, which would be lovely. Fish wise, they're all the same fish. I'm not looking to add or retract any fish. Quite happy with the bio load, and quite happy with the fact that they're all algae eaters, and good pooers for nitrates and phosphates for the corals. One major issue though was that the partner of the clownfish there, sorry, a bit of glare. Oh yeah, I've lost that one. Let's come around the side. So our Onyx Clownfish, unfortunately, is now on his own. The other one just turned up dead one day. I could not see any reason why that would be the case. I don't have a clue why. Just turned up dead, didn't look like it was ill. There must have been something wrong with it, but I've not seen any other signs of illness in the tank, and I'm not risking putting another fish in until I can sort of properly acclimate them. Right, the door's just gone, so that's my time to go. Please like, subscribe and share this video, and I'll see you again soon.